Welcome back to Million Dollar Movers, the podcast where we sit down with the people who are moving the markets, moving mindsets, and moving money in the right direction. Today's episode is a very special one with a top financial planner in Canada, where we are seeking freedom, where we are seeking financial freedom and peace of mind. My guest has built a highly successful career as a top financial director at one of Canada's top financial planning companies. Now he's taken all that experience and turned it into hundreds of $1 million of financial planning book of business, helping hundreds of families reach peace of mind and their retirement goals. We're going to talk about what really separates top financial planners from the rest, mistakes holding clients and retirees from reaching their financial goals and reaching their ultimate life potential. Okay. Ali, welcome to Million Dollar Movers.
Thank you. Thanks, Al Said, for having me today.
Thank you so much. I want to start with a bit of a switch. Okay. Let's start with most financial planners don't grow up saying, yeah, I want to be a financial planner. When I grow up, I want to help families reach their maximum financial goals. What really made you go into this financial planning industry?
I mean, very early on, when I was a little kid, I remember my dad telling me about stocks, and I grew up in Pakistan, so we didn't really have very um, complicated capital markets and so forth. But I always loved the idea of compounding, and I believe I was around 13, 14 when he first told me that when you buy a stock and then over a period of time it grows, and then I was like, oh, I was just enamored by that idea. So I always knew finance always kind of motivated me. Making money always motivated me, I guess. And then when I came to McGill, I went to McGill for my undergrad. I bumped into my first mentor, Omar Hayat, who's now in Dubai. And he gave me the opportunity to join IG under his planning firm. And then just one thing led to another. So I definitely did not wake up thinking or grew up thinking that I would be a financial planner for sure.
But you had an early start with a dad like yours.
Yeah, you can say that for sure. For sure.
Oh. Ali, was there any moment ever, a moment that you said, I want to walk away?
I mean, not a
You
moment.
reach a high level as a division director, okay? But I'm sure it wasn't all smooth. Markets soaring, markets crashing, okay? Was there any point of time that you said, enough is enough? I cannot take it anymore?
I mean, there's not a moment. There were many moments early on in my career. I know you know a little bit about our career as well. So it is not an easy career to build a business, especially if you don't have any contacts. So as I told you, I came to McGill. I started my practice in Montreal. Very French influenced. I came from Pakistan with a thick, heavy in Pakistani accent. So I couldn't really understand a lot when I would cold call. Back in the day, we were allowed to cold call. So when I used to cold call potential clients, I still remember there are many moments where I would take a bus, one way, hour and a half, get to a client's house at 7:30. I still remember this vaguely. It was all the way in West Island. I used to live in Montreal downtown at that time. So I got to his house, rang the bell. Everything was, dark. I still remember this, and I'm like, oh, I don't know why. I know I had a 7:30. I just booked, like, reconfirmed in the morning, and the guy comes out and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't meet you today. Come back tomorrow." And I still remember it was
Forgot.
all Montreal evening, and I took the bus back. It was 1.5 hour each way, 3 hours. I got home at like 10 o'clock or something at night, and I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing with my life? So there were many moments like that, in my career. But thankfully, I can look at them in the past, and just there were moments of learning. Like, I think they made me more thick-skinned. I think they made me more uh, adept to, or maybe even got me comfortable with dealing with rejections. So so those are also all learning curves for me, for sure.
But you took your MBA, then after that, you took also the top financial designation in Canada, which is a certified financial planner, CFP.
Yeah. I mean, coming from our background a little bit, like when you're born in a Pakistani South Asian household, bachelor's degree is not much. So I always had that in me, that I wanted to educationally, like, progress myself, and build on those analytical skills that I always found to be interesting. So that's how I got into the MBA program at Rotman at U of T. So from Montreal. I was in Montreal at that time. I applied, got the admission. Then I moved to Toronto, and then from there, as you mentioned, I did the CFP, which is our Certified Financial Planning designation. And then I actually pursue CFA as well, but only did it up until level 2, and never really ended up completing level 3. But that's also in progress. So hopefully, I always try to keep progressing on the educational front as well, for sure.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you're pursuing. Wow, that's hard. It's tough. I
I
know
mean, it's
CFP
taken a
is
bit of a
hard.
backseat with 2 kids, young kids now. It's taken a little bit of a backseat.
Awesome. So, Ali, every hero in the financial industry has his original story. Okay, looking back, what is a single decision in your career that changed your trajectory the most?
I mean, definitely the single decision was, uh, uh, so when I graduated from McGill, I was already working as a part-time, you might want to call it marketing associate, while I was in university for Omar. And I kind of had like an
Omar
idea.
was a financial planner, right?
Yes, he was a financial
Awesome.
planner. He
Okay.
was one of the leading ones at that time back in 2008 in our firm. So I was already working as an assistant with him, but I still was on the fence. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do this. And, as you can imagine, like, when you're growing up, you have this stigma around sales, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be. I went to McGill University. I'm not going to be a sales guy, like, so I had that stigma,
Yeah.
like, at that time. But looking back at it, one of the very first early on advice I got was to get comfortable with the word sales, and I'm super comfortable with it now. And I tell people that, when you're in our industry, like, we love our financial planners, but we pay our salespeople. So if you want to get paid, you got to be making some sales. But more importantly, the one as I look back, is like when I told Omar that I'm not sure if I want to do it or not. He had won the President's Club, at that time, and then and that trip was coming up, and it was in Tahiti. And he's like, you know what? As a signing bonus, I'll take you to Tahiti with me. So,
Wow.
so he didn't take his wife, which, which we still joke about. But anyway, so him and I ended up going on that trip to Tahiti as his guest on that trip. And then our firm, like, that I'm with today, they invited Chris Gardner, who the movie Pursuit of Happiness is on, and he came and he gave this motivating, like, lecture. While sitting in that room, I said, oh my god, this is the firm that I want to work with, and this is my career. And that was it. I came back, and I never really looked back after that.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Ali, for the clients, investors seeking retirement, clients that are listening to us, okay, I'm sure we both agree, okay, you have recruited and hired hundreds of advisors, rookies, mid-career, and top producers. You hired them. Not all financial planners are created equal. So, what's in your point of view that clients should be seeking and looking for their financial planner to hire?
First off, I wish I had hired hundreds of them, but I not hundreds, but I definitely hired a few
I
over the
know
years.
tens and tens of them. During my time with you, I know you hired tens of them.
No, for sure. But yeah. So one of the things that I feel it is a bit lacking, for the most part now we see it. One of the biggest quality is that I always talk about, and it's something that I feel like it's if either they have it or don't is ethics and empathy. Like if your advisor has good ethics, and if he's the understanding of the fact that he's looking out for the best interest of their clients and have understand the fiduciary responsibility, from me ethics is very important. And the empathy, like understanding that this is like your client's hard-earned money, and you're not giving them the wrong advice for a quick buck for yourself or your practice, and understanding that you really buy into the long term relationship with your clients, and not just looking for tomorrow. I think that's what clients should be looking for, because honestly at the end of the day, like making this crazy portfolio which is going to generate you 20% return, whatever, like you know that is something that is not in the control of any advisor. That is not in control of, that's really market conditions, and anybody who guarantees that, I think, is probably lying to you as well. But what you cannot change is that if that person is actually empathetic, if he actually does he have the right ethics, or he or she has the right ethics. So that for me is something would be a number one, and not just in financial planners, but that's something that I would look for in anybody, that like even my friends, or my in my group of people that I associate myself with. That's something that is very important, a quality that I really uh, value.
Very well said. Yeah, I have to say, very well said. Okay. So, Ali, if you could see the before and then version of Ali Sibtain, okay, early career, you and versus you today, okay, how has this profession changed Ali as a person, not just professionally?
So I mean, I can tell you in two parts, maybe, like if I break it down. One is professionally. When I started off, as I was telling you, uh, I would take anybody on as a client. If you had a living pulse, yes, you're my client. You're a living person. You're breathing. I'll take you on as a client. But now,
I
of course,
remember that.
with our practice now, like we're very there's of course capacity issues, and then we there's so many clients that we can take on in a year, and then we're careful of who we bring on in our practice. um so definitely that is a big change from my early on days to now. And then as a person, I feel, of course, when I started off, I didn't really have a family, and, I didn't have kids, and now I have kids, and they're the most important thing for me. And, in this life today is my wife and my kids, and, spending time with them and understanding the importance of like family time, and versus just being 9 to 9 in the office. So that has probably changed as well, like, the work-life balance for sure.
I love that. Okay. I love it. Okay. Let's take that experience and move on to what you've seen over the years from your clients and your advisors that work with you. Okay. So, share with us one win that would give you goosebump. Okay. Can you share a story? It could be a client that you helped reach his financial goals, where you thought, this is exactly why I am doing this. The why, your why.
I mean, the Simon Sinek is a guy who talks a lot about the why and the how and the what, like, and for me, when, very early on when I got in this was when I heard that TED talk, became very clear that why is the most important thing for anybody, like, and most importantly in the fields that we are in, especially like, you're out there helping your clients reach their buying their first home, and like what that means to you. And so for me also, from that perspective, I mean, one of the first few ones I want to say is that once I came to the office and there was like a bouquet of flowers waiting, and then I was like so confused. I'm like, why are there flowers for me? Like, it's kind of weird. But then I found out that I mean, it was nothing that I did out of the way. This is something part of our, the whole process, that we ended up saving for my very early on one of my first few clients. We ended up putting together an educational plan for their kid. 8 years down the line, eventually the kid went to university, and then the kid, when they got accepted, and the fact that they didn't have to look for loans or any of the government bursaries or anything, and then they could just have this plan that they knew that quite a big chunk of money was just waiting for the kids to utilize it for the education. Um, that actually meant a lot to my clients, and then the I still remember that they sent me like a bouquet of flowers and thanking me for that. And that moment I still remember. It was like many years ago now, but that was, I realized the reason why. That's a big reason. Of course we're all in it for, we I don't want to sound cheesy and say, oh, I don't like, of course everybody wants their bills to be paid and money to be made, but then there is a bigger meaning, and the bigger meaning of that is like, while in the process like of achieving all that, you're able to help people, actually genuinely help people, and that means a lot to me till this day. I mean, there was a line actually, my early on, somebody had told me that you just don't want to make the first 100,000 or the first 500,000 or the first $1 million for the money that you're going to make, but for what the marketplace is going to compensate you for your skills and talents, and then in the process, how many people you've helped. So all that is the why for me is definitely one of that. That's one of the biggest why for me till this day.
So finish this sentence, please, Ali. The most expensive mistake clients make in their investments. What do you see over the years that quietly clients make that cost them thousands of lost dollars or more and more years of growth lost?
I mean, we don't do a lot of trading in our accounts. Like with our clients, we are very buy and hold kind of practice. We're not brokers, we're financial planners really. But one of the things I've seen over the years is clients trying to time the market, like and doing a lot of emotional decision making in the financial matters. Like so if this April, when the tariffs came into place and then the markets dropped 20%, 30%. Same thing during COVID. Like clients would call you and say, "Oh, I want to sell everything, and I know the market, like the world's going to come to an end." And then again, going back to that why, like for me, it was taking that time out of the day and making sure that you put your clients to at ease and kind of show them through the different graphs and show them through different like historical like from a historical perspective, that eventually markets do come back up, and this might not be the most opportune time, but also as advisors, for us to understand where the clients are coming from, because it's their hard-earned money and they panic. So but one of the things I've seen with clients, like, that one of the biggest mistakes they probably made in the cost base is by just, buying and selling, maybe, trying to time the market, in a way that never really pays off, in my opinion.
And they panic. Markets drop a little bit and they panic and they sell.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I remember just when we were long time we were discussing, it's not timing the market, it's time in the market.
100%. And same with real estate too, right? Same with real estate.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of people,
I want to time it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ali, what in the industry? What's the popular industry belief that clients, you hear it from clients, you hear it online, that actually you disagree with, and why?
I mean, what I like a lot of times the conversation in our industry or in our business comes down to fees, and which is the right conversation. Don't get me wrong, but like sometimes people get too hung up on the dollar and cents, like they become, what's that word, like penny wise and pound foolish, like that they're missing the bigger picture. I feel sometimes where they don't take into consideration that what planning really is important, and why they're but they're very hung up on like, oh, my investment fees are you know 0.79% versus my neighbor who pays 0.64%, like, right? Like, so they sometimes get caught up in that, versus like really understanding like why they're doing what they're doing it for, so I think like that's probably one thing. But having said that, I mean, I'm not one of those guys who would say that, oh, you shouldn't worry about the fees. And 100% at the end of the day, the fees take into a portion of your profits and portion of your portfolio, and it comes from that. So you have to be mindful that you're, what kind of products you're in, but having said that, fees is not the only thing, and it's important to have like a proper financial plan in place.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Ali, sometimes you meet clients or potential clients, and they tell you, "I've got it all figured out. Okay, I'm okay for my retirement. Maybe I need a few tweaks, but I'm okay." What would be the 2 or 3 areas that when you probe, you find that actually no, Mr. Potential Client, no, you needed a lot of tweaking.
I will say this, that with advancement in technology, and especially as we see Chat GPT and all these other tools, a lot of times people who are tech savvy, and they're able to get 80-90% of the times they're able to get the answers from there, and build their own personal portfolios on that. But then there's that, a lot of times there's the human element, like for them to sit down with an advisor and talk about what they want to do with their money if they were to pass away. Have they figured out, like, their son who is dating this girlfriend for the last 5 years, what would it mean that if they passed on the wealth to their son, do they want to leave anything? So they, like, like questions like those, when we start probing, like, or what about your daughter, who is going through, let's say, a separation with her husband, and if something happens to you today, that gets inherited by the daughter, but then your son-in-law, who you don't really like that much, is going to walk away with half of what you were leaving behind for your daughter. So what does that mean to you? Like, so when you start and we've uncovered a lot of those conversations in the last 5 years, I would say 5-10 years, as boomers continue to gift or transfer off their wealth to their next generation. So those are some of the things that we continue to see. And then other than that, I mean, as I was telling you, a lot of times the portfolio, like, the portfolios are pretty well built, but you can go on Chat GPT and get a really good portfolio, in my opinion. Like, but again, like, um, going back to, like, why are you investing? What's the goal of investing that money? So having an understanding of that is sometimes missing as well.
And I've seen you like emotional handling, the emotional roller coaster of clients. ChatGPT will not tell them, yeah, ChatGPT will not guide them. They will tell them feeding in what, and it will give them whatever it gives. It will not manage their emotions.
100%.
So thank you, Ali, for that. So Ali, if I give you now a beacon, a microphone, a megaphone, okay, for 30 seconds in front of every potential client, investor, prospective retiree, business owner who has money in the corporation, okay, what would you shout out to them right now? 30 seconds.
I mean, I don't know what I would shout out like that, but I would definitely give them my phone number and my email address and ask them to contact me. No, but on a serious note, I think one of the biggest thing that I would definitely shout out to all of them is to go. There've been amazing returns in the equity markets in the last couple of years, and are your portfolios at the same asset allocation that they were a couple of years ago? Have you reviewed that with your advisor? Are you still on track to meet your goals? So there's once in a while, I think a lot of times when we see new prospects, they haven't really had a conversation about their financial plan, or they don't even probably have a financial plan in place. So making sure that that they have a written financial plan in place, and then they're working towards that goal. I'm a very goals oriented person. I like to set my goals and then work towards that, and I like all my clients to work with us like that as well.
That's powerful. Yeah, that's powerful. So Now let's move away from the financial planning numbers to the human element, the human side of of what you're doing and helping your clients. Okay, so for your prospective clients, okay, the emotion moment. Okay, let's forget spreadsheets, KPIs, dashboards for a second. What one emotional moment maybe a client shared with you that you'll never forget?
I mean, there are a lot of clients have shared a lot of emotional moments over the
I'm
years,
sure.
and and they it's I say this as well, that after your spouse and your doctor, like your best friend should really be your financial advisor, because they really know everything about you as well. Um, One of them, I've had clients tell me that they have a rocky relationship with their kids, and because of that they don't have a good relationship with their grandkids, and they miss their grandkids, and like this stuff. Or even just recently, like one of my clients told me that they're separating after a very long time. I dealt with both the husband and the wife, so I had to give the wife to another advisor, so there's no conflict of interest. I went out for dinner, took him out, just to make him feel better, like, talk about that. So like there are moments like that. So goes beyond, as you were just saying, this goes beyond our looking at the the social insurance numbers and the RSPs and the TFSAs. It goes beyond that. That's and that's how we try to set ourselves a little bit apart. I feel like a lot of good advisors already do that. As I told you before, I come from like South Asia, Pakistan, Dubai. They don't really call them financial advisors there. They call them relationship managers, really. And I find that a really very interesting word, because we are really managing our relationships with our client. So there've been moments like that, that when you're driving back home after that meeting or that lunch or that dinner, like you're thinking, this is why I like the human element of this business as well. And I'm pretty sure it must have happened with you as well, when like sometimes clients buy their first home, the tears that sometimes that they go through, and and you're in that moment, and you feel like you made that happen for them. I think that's the at the end of the day, of course the money is good, but like, those are bigger things than just, the paycheck.
Ali, you mentioned the kids. So I know your kids, I know your wife and parents. So what do you think if they were asked, okay, what's your daddy's doing or your wife? What is Ali doing as a financial planner? What do you think they will be saying? Do they
If you
really
ask my
understand
if you ask
financial
my younger
planning?
one, no, not really. But if you ask I hope my wife does, because we have a financial plan in place. But if you ask
Yeah.
my younger one, who's a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old. He thinks everybody that I talk to are my clients, because every time he comes down to the office, I'm like, Ram, I'm in a meeting, so please, I'm meeting my client, so please leave. So even when I go outside and I'm dropping him to work, oh, sorry, to his daycare, or and if I bump into somebody and I say, hey man, like a neighbor or somebody, he's like, Baba, is he your client? Are you meeting your client? So for him, he's like, oh, everybody meeting is like a client, like, so and then, so yeah.
But you have hundreds, literally, you have hundreds of families. I know that you have hundreds
Yeah,
of families
yeah, no,
that you're
thank you.
helping.
Yeah, no, thank you for sure. But yeah, but the younger one definitely, for so that's one thing that he thinks, that everybody's a client.
And your wife is highly educated. I'm sure she will know. She will know what to say about that. Okay.
She's a main breadwinner, so
Yeah, she's amazing.
she's
She's
the boss.
amazing.
She's the boss at home. And
Always.
always.
Aren't they all? So, Ali, money is supposed to be logical, okay? Yet, you and I, we know that the human behavior is not always driven by logic. It's a lot of times driven by emotions, okay? What's the most surprising or frustrating behavior that you've seen your clients um, do regarding their own damaging their own retirement or their own investment?
I think I kind of answered that earlier. When it's like when sometimes clients would call you, this happened a lot during COVID. Again happened in this year in April, I can think of. And it happens all the time when there's a little bit of a correction in the market that the clients think that the world is coming to an end. And, I literally had a client tell me that after COVID that we're everything, sell everything in RSP, give me back my cash. And I had to really spend hours and hours talking to him. And it was tough because I would have a conversation on March 27th and be like, okay, markets will bounce back. We just got to wait it out, wait it out. And then April 3rd, the markets have gone down even further. And then April 10th, it's even further. So it was tough during those times. There was a lot of hours, a lot of time that we would have to spend with our clients. A lot of sleepless nights because, as I told you, I felt personally, it was a bit personal for me to seeing my clients, drop value in their net worth. But as usual, things come back up. So, anybody who was, didn't take my advice at that time and acted upon it and sold and literally did not take part in the markets coming back up, those are things that really bug me. I wish you had, you know, uh, you've seen the data that I provided to you, showing you how after every correction, what happens in the markets, and I wish you hadn't moved into cash positions. But
So on tough days, Ali, when the markets, when we have bear markets and everything is red on the screens, phones are ringing, and clients panicking, how do you keep them grounded? How do
I mean,
you manage the roller coaster?
honestly, for me, those are, it might sound weird, but for all our clients, we keep portion of their portfolios in cash, at all times. For most of them, for long-term investors or, even short-term, but for any long-term investor that we would have, and then we would have some cash in there, those are days that I'm looking forward to allocate, right, like some cash in. Just like today in the morning, actually, by the morning, the markets were a bit down, and we reached out to our top, few clients who had quite a bit of cash in their accounts, and we put some cash to use. So uh, I actually spin it off as an opportunity, which it is. Right, like when the markets do drop, and if you're not retiring, if you're retiring, then or retired, you should not be worried about it because you probably are in a very different portfolio. But if you're not retiring anytime soon and the markets drop like that, it's an opportunity to accumulate more units at a lower cost.
Yeah, yeah, excellent, excellent. So I love the perspective. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the future, your future and your client's future. Okay. So over the years, you've seen behind the curtains a lot of financial planners, the numbers, habits, and mindsets. What's the pattern you consistently see among top financial planners? What do you wish every financial planner would stop doing or start doing today for the benefit of their clients?
Discipline. I think discipline is something that be it anything, and more importantly in our business, discipline of marketing. And I'm and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but and I'm so I fall short of it sometimes. Discipline of marketing. The top financial planners that I see in our industry, in our company, are those who have who have discipline when it comes to marketing, discipline when it comes to their review meetings, discipline when it comes to onboarding. Like there's a whole system, and they have a discipline, and a great work ethic. So you know, so I think it comes down to discipline.
Great, great. Okay. So fast forward, Ali. If your future was looking right now at your business, what you hope that you would, what actually is you're proud of now?
So you mean what am I proud of right now?
Yeah.
Like in my practice?
What you achieve now, or what you are actually achieving for your clients now?
For clients, one of our biggest thing is financial freedom. We want to make sure that we are working towards their goal. I just had a lunch meeting. The client just told me that they want to retire at the age of 55. I came back to the office, started working, seeing their planning, and then coming back. Like I believe I will going to tell them that that you can, based on what we discussed. So that's something that I do like, focus a lot of my practice on holistic financial planning, and that's something that we've been doing a lot like lately. Making sure that if a client doesn't have a plan in place, we generally have a conversation. And not every client wants a plan, to be honest, and maybe not every client is even fit for a plan. So depending on the client and their needs, but something that we are really proud of in our practice is definitely making sure that if a client wants a plan and needs a plan, they have a plan.
Good. So, tough love question that you ask for your clients. What's the hard truth you wish your clients accept if they really want their financial independence and peace of mind in their retirement? What would you say to?
To those who want financial independence.
Yeah, what's the hard truth you need to share with the clients to reach their goals?
I mean, sometimes clients just have to be realistic, right? Like if you're 55, 60 and looking for retirement 5, 10 years, and you want to be on your yacht, and you want to spend $150,000 a year, but you're only saving $10, $15,000 a year, and right? Like it's all like understanding that the output 10 years from now is highly dependent on what the input we are putting in today. So that's really the hard truth, is like sometimes clients are expecting a bit too much, and they need to step up on their end as well. And that's why we like the planning part. Like, when we do the planning, when we go through the conquest with them, like our planning software, we show them, like, if you keep doing what you're doing and this is what you want to do, you're not going to be able to do it. So, and it's important to have those conversations rather than just painting a rosy picture to the client all the time.
So now that we're ending this podcast, what would be one small concrete action that you would share with listeners now that would help them? If an action that if they start taking now, they will be ahead years and years from other people.
I mean,
Small advice.
like it's call to action. Like, like I always leave our review meetings with it, like making sure that once you walk out, like you actually act on what you have thought of, like, right? Like, sometimes a lot of us, we keep building ideas in our mind, but never really end up acting or executing on the plan. Like, so you can, for example, in your field, like you can show the plan, you can show everything to your clients, but if they're not really acting upon it, we could have the same conversations 5 years from now and it would be the same exact thing, right? Like, so same thing in our field as well, that if we do the planning, we show them the plan, but if at the end of the day the clients are not acting upon it, it's unfortunately 5 years from now it's going to be the same situation. So execution and then acting upon it.
Excellent. Okay. So, Ali, it's been really packed with this episode has been packed with insight, not just for investors, but for every person who wants to create financial wealth, financial freedom, and peace of mind for themselves. So thank you so much. Ali, before we wrap it up, where can investors, business owners who cannot get money out of their corporations or retirement seekers, how can they get in touch with you?
I mean, I will, leave it upon you if you want to share my information. But if that's okay, you can give me a call. I'm open to sharing my cell phone number as well, my personal number, and my email address. More than welcome to share that with your listeners.
We'll leave it in the
And
comment.
perfect. And then would love for people to reach out and see if they have any questions, anything I can help with, anything. Would love that.
Ali, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your wisdom over the years with us today. And for everyone who's listening to us, if you're an investor, business owner, or seeking to retire, you heard something good today. Please don't just nod there. Please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend that who would benefit from it. And we'll leave the Ali's contacts down below. This has been $1 Million Movers. In this episode, we helped you share the insights of Ali, who's genuinely one of the top advisors here in Canada. And thank you so much. This is Saïd Younes. See you next time in the next episode.
Thank you.
Take care.